Hello and welcome back to another Writerly Witterings with me, Michael Jex, the tea and now coffee drinking author. I'm sitting here with various ailments. My hand's still not working properly. It's going to be a while. I've still got my arm in a splint, so I can't move it more than 60 degrees. It makes writing difficult. It makes typing a pain. So I'm learning how to dictate onto my Apple, which seems to be working, but I've got a long way to go. Anyway, it's got nothing to do with that today. What am I talking about today? Well, you may remember that just around Christmas time, I was sent a whole pile of 8 delightful inks from a company in Korea called Dominant Industries. I was very grateful indeed because I hadn't expected them. But I have a load of them, and I thought it was about time I gave a little review of these inks. So let's get into it. Now, some time ago I did discuss all of these little inks. We have a vast profusion of inks from Dominant Industries. We have Winter Wood. We have Autumn Forest. He says, not quite getting it in front of the camera. We have Autumn Forest. We have Romania Red. We also have Lake. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I think it's Lungo or Lungo. We have Leaf Green. We have Manchurian Violet. And finally, Tanzanite. In the past, I've already spoken a little bit about Dusk, which I really rather adore. So let's go potluck. Let's just take one at random. Here we go with Winter Wood. Let's have a look at it. So here is Winter Wood. Now, I have mentioned before the packaging. Let's just have another quick refresher, because in each of these little boxes you have a nice little imitation cloth bag and then the ink inside that. Winter Wood is one of their standard inks, so it's not a shimmering or anything special ink. It's a standard ink. And one thing you get with each of their inks is a little pipette, just to make life easier. If you want to suck up some ink to put it into an eyedropper, you can, which is another nice little touch from a very delightful company. So, Dominant Industry inks come in these really rather wonderful teardrop-shaped bottles. They're not huge. They are... How much is there in these? I forget now. 25 mils. Now, the price of that is roughly the same as a wonderful ink from Diamine, but the ink from Diamine is 80 mils in a standard size bottle. Some of the special ones, especially one of these strange ones with the stubby legs, are less. These only have 50 mils. But I have to admit that doesn't bother me, because the Dominant Industry inks are just so wonderfully produced. What you do notice when you open the bottle, I'm just going to get a bit of blotting paper before anything nasty happens. Let's just... This is the problem with having had an operation on my arm and nerves. It still does not function properly. It's getting better, but it's only 2 weeks since the operation and there's a long way to go. Hey-ho. Now, one thing you'll notice when you open these bottles is that they really are quite well filled. This is not a bottle where you feel you're being short-changed. You get a lot of ink for your money. You get a lot of ink in the bottle. Put it like that. I'm just going to fill my Conway Stewart Drake. Why my Conway Stewart Drake? Well, I usually use my TWSBI 1.1mm stub for all ink tests, or I have always used my TWSBI Go with a 1.1mm stub for previous tests, but, well, I happen to really like this Conway Stewart nib. And although I could quite happily use the TWSBI Go again, I just don't want to. It's the sort of guy I am. Do you care as a viewer? You might do. Then again, you probably don't because you're sensible people. So here we go. We have a whole bunch of pages here with the different types of ink. This is my standard ink testing notebook. It is a really rather magnificent little notebook with Tomo River paper. It came from Goulet pens. Thank you, Goulet, who make particularly nice little cahiers for people like me to use. And now, because it's the new year, I thought I'd go back to my Templar series. This is my second book in my series, a book I wrote in 1995, would you believe? First came out in back end of 95. And I still really like it. Now being published by those nice folks at Canelo for a ridiculously cheap £9.99 recommended, which means you can probably get it on Amazon for £2.50. Never mind, I'll get over it. Right, so let us try some of this delightful Dominant Industries ink. And this is Winter Wood. Now I have to apologise. I've said this before, but I've had an operation on the main nerve, the ulnar nerve, in my right hand, which has been caused because it was trapped. So they've had to cut me open, muck about with it, but it's going to be quite some while before I can write neatly once more. So here we go. Simon and Baldwin. So What can be said about this ink? Well, I would say it's rather like a very dark Bekagtax, was it? From... Let me just go through and have a quick check of the different colours here. These are no good, that's no good, I need to go further. Where are the browns? Where are the browns? Here are the browns now. I would say it's nearest to Diamine Chocolate Brown, if I was going to look at anything. Just pull them over. Yes, very similar indeed. I'd say Chocolate Brown has more reddish overtones from my look, whereas this is more of a colder colour. I'd say that's got more blue in it. Quite similar. If you look at the Chocolate Brown, there was absolutely no shading with that really deep dark colour, whereas here I can discern some shading. If I look at these in particular, there's a bit of movement. I've just realised that it's still wet, this ink. That takes a while to dry then. But yes, if you look at the D here, you can see it's paler at the top, darker at the bottom. The winter you can see darker and paler. So you do get some nice shading with this ink. I would also say it's got some very pleasant outlining. It is really clear where the ink is and where the edges are. Makes for a very nice effect, actually. I am really very taken with that. I think that's a quite delightful ink. Let's put some more light on it here. Very dark, definitely safe for work. A really pleasant ink. And so, there you have it. One more little bottle of beauty and perfection with an absolutely delightful lid. I did show that briefly, but it's not so easy to show because it's too darn bright in this room. But these bottles are quite beautiful, absolutely delightful. They're nice to hold in the hand. They feel good, they look good. A whole row of these on your writing shelf would look nice. Very impressed with the colour. Let's just have another quick look at it here. I do like the fact that it does shade. I don't like inks that don't shade. They just don't appeal to me. It takes away part of the interest of it. But these certainly work very well. They are quite slow to dry, or this is. But it looks really good. I had no problems with the ink in terms of any sort of failing, any sort of difficulty with my pens. It seems to flow very well. I was thinking originally that it was quite like Bekagtax, which is an Ackerman ink and a very good dark brown. Here you go. That's Bekagtax at the bottom there. But when I look at the two side by side, actually Bekagtax is really, I would say, a much warmer, redder type of brown, whereas the dominant industry winter wood It feels colder, which to me means it's probably got more of a blue tinge to it. But it is I like both of them. I really do like dark browns. I like lighter browns too. In fact, I like most colours. I'm just that sort of a person. But I think that the Winter Wood is an ink I'm going to be using up really quite quickly. It's an absolutely delightful ink to look at on the page, and I can see myself writing with that really quite a lot. Now, I have to just give a quick update on things because owing to this arm not functioning, it's a little bit difficult to figure out other things I've got to do. However, I do have to talk about this, and I'm going to do that very quickly now because it's a difficult thing to fit into an entire video review of its own. But this is a really glorious little pen case that was sent to me for Christmas by Chris. Thank you, Chris. It sort of folds up like an old-fashioned notebook with this tie string all around it. When you take the tie string loose, it opens up. And here we have two decent-sized pen cases. You slip your pen or pencil in there, no problem at all. You have a useful little section here for putting money if you must, or something similar. And similarly, you've got a zip-up section in the front where you can put other stuff. Now, for me, this is ideal for paper darts and similar notebook clips. I can keep a £10 note or something in there, which means that when I'm out and about, I have some cash on me. And then I have found this most useful so far for holding paintbrushes, pencils, and various types of fine line pen, because this has become my absolute go-to standard for when I'm going out and about and sketching. It's just the right size. I can slide it into my pocket. Takes up no space at all, and I know I've got everything I need to get started. All I need to take on top of this is a sketch pad, which I'll always have with me, and a small paint box. If I've got this, I won't forget the paint box. It's just really brilliant. And being leather, it's lovely. So I just thought I'd mention that, since trying to find time to mention things generally is a problem. What I have got to do next time is talk about a very delightful notebook that came over from Canada and two pens that are these strange erasable pens. So you've got a rubber top on the back and you can rub them out if you want to. So I'm going to mention them briefly next time around. Apart from that, not a lot of news really. I'm just trying to crack on with work and make sure that I don't overwork this hand, because owing to the fact I've had an operation on the nerve, I've got to be really careful with it apparently. It's going to be 4 to 6 weeks after the operation before I can even think about driving, which is problematic in its own right. But it all seems to be going well so far. Movement is coming back. It's a bit difficult to straighten it, but the arm, that is. But hopefully that will all come back as well. And now, basically, I've got to go edit this and get back to work because I've got tons of other stuff to do, mainly writing and editing this latest book, which was due at the end of this month, but luckily I've got an extension and it's now due next month, which hopefully should be feasible. I also have an awful lot of reviews to write up for different books. The latest one will be going live at the same time roughly as this video. Hybrid Warriors. If you're at all interested in the background to the Ukraine war and Russia's invasion, This gives you a really good insight into all of the things that went on. Putin's incompetence, yes, I did say that, and the incompetence of NATO and various Western leaders. It's a really fascinating read. I can thoroughly recommend it. And that's it. Thanks a lot for watching. If you enjoyed that, don't forget you can hit the like button, and then if you want to make sure you're aware of future videos, hit the other thing that says you get told about videos coming, and then you can ding the bell and all those other good things. Tell people all around that you really like these videos. Goodness knows why you'd think that, but some people do. And apart from that, I'll be back in a week's time. Wish me luck. Hopefully this arm will be in a different condition because I'll have had another session of physiotherapy by then. What excitement. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care. Speak to you soon. Bye for now.